Ahead tonight, the opposition leader is named by Parliament. Our cameras are rolling as Dr. Hubert Minnis defies orders to leave and the police move in.
Also ahead, Dr. Minnis speaks out about the sanctions against him and how his parliamentary colleagues will protest the move.
And the Anglican Diocese begins the mournful process of burying a priest. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Line.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Kendino Knowles. As always, it's good to have you with us.
Topping the news tonight, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis was named by the Speaker of the House of Assembly today before being escorted from Parliament by police.
Refusing for a 14th time to retract charges against the Prime Minister that he has not substantiated, Dr. Minnis defied the Speaker's order to leave the chamber, prompting the suspension of Parliament.
Carla Palmer was in the chamber as Minnis, cloaked by his parliamentary colleagues, was approached by police.
House of Assembly proceedings got off to a late start this Wednesday morning, well after the 10 o'clock hour. And when it did get started, House Speaker the Honorable Dr. Kendall Major reiterated events of the previous House sitting on July 22nd.
The actions by the member for Kalani was in stark contravention of our rules of procedure and disrespected the honor of this institution. Back
on that date, the House was abruptly suspended due to opposition leader the Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis refusing to provide proof or withdraw his allegations against Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie that he, Mr. Christie, was involved in corrupt practices with respect to the stem cell bill.
The chair has exercised great restraint in invoking reparation for the offending remarks and a gross violation of the rules.
Well, today, Dr. Minnis was given yet again another opportunity to show proof or withdraw the allegations, and his response had not changed.
I have no intention of withdrawing anything.
You are out of order. Resume your seat.
House Speaker Dr. Major then invoked Rule 87, verse 4 of the House and named Dr. Minnis.
Hubert Alexander Minnis, you are hereby named for 2 consecutive sittings.
Dr. Major asked Dr. Minnis to leave the House chambers. Dr. Minnis did not respond.
It has been moved and seconded that the business of this House suspends for 15 minutes, during which time the member will be removed from these chambers.
At the break, 6 uniformed police officers and several police inspectors entered the chambers to remove Dr. Minnis. By this time, Member of Parliament for Long Island, the Honorable Loretta Butler Turner, had already hoisted her placard which read, "Democracy will not be muzzled," and Dr. Minnis holding another reading, "The Bahamas should be for Bahamians." The officers asked Dr. Minnis to leave the chambers and, while making their way toward him, physically removed both the Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, the Honorable Peter Turnquist, and the Member of Parliament for Montague, the Honorable Richard Lightburn. As the officers got closer to Dr. Minnis, Mrs. Butler Turner said to them, and I quote, "Don't touch us. Don't put your hands on us. We will leave." End quote. With officers leading the way and others in tow, all of the opposition members left the chambers, with the exception of the MP for South Abaco, the Honorable Edison Key. 15 minutes later, the House of Assembly resumed. Sidetracked from his previous communication back on July 22nd on the Stem Cell Therapy and Research Bill, Member of Parliament for Golden Gates, the Honorable Shane Gibson, then got his opportunity to make his contribution. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
Well, immediately after being named in the House of Assembly, the Member of Parliament for Killarney Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis held a press conference on the steps of Parliament. LTV's Munnings heard the protests of the opposition claiming to have been defending democracy.
FNM is standing firm today for democracy.
The Member of Parliament for Killarney and Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis believes that the remarks he made on July 17th during the debate on the stem cell therapy bill in the House of Assembly are reportedly being interpreted by government officials as an allegation of corruption against Centreville Member of Parliament, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie. He articulated on the steps of the House of Assembly Wednesday, just minutes after being named, that until the Member of Parliament for Baines and Grantstown, Dr. Bernard Nottage, prompted, Speaker of the House of Assembly, Dr. Kendall Major, did not recall him uttering any offensive words. Nevertheless, Dr. Minnis contends his words were expunged from House records.
Our parliamentary democracy precludes personal insults being exchanged between members, but does permit members to express reservations and concerns when they believe that others may, in their action, inaction, or association, cause harm or insult to our democracy or bring disrepute to our country.
The Free National Movement leader made it clear that the party is not opposed to stem cell research in the Bahamas.
We do not believe that the Bahamas is ready at this time to mount the level and standard of oversight necessary for advanced stem cell research and clinical trials.
He maintains that the relationship between the Christie government and international fashion designer Peter Nygaard, as well as former chairman of the government's stem cell task force, Dr. Arthur Porter, is unhealthy for our democracy.
I believe that if the full extent of that relationship was known to the Bahamian people, there would be near universal disapproval of it.
When the opposition Free National Movement's parliamentary team left the House of Assembly Wednesday morning, they gathered here at the Free National Movement's headquarters on Mackey Street along with supporters. Moments after that, they held a meeting, and the Free National Movement's leader, Dr. Hubert Minnis, informed us that a mini-event will be held here at 7:30 tonight, where the events that transpired in the House of Assembly will be discussed, as well as other national issues. I'm Eltavise Munnings, ZNS Network News.
Now, the naming of a member of the House of Assembly essentially means that the Speaker suspends the member who he concludes has broken the rules of the House.
The sanction bans the member from entering the House chamber until the suspension is complete.
Now, today's events have drawn a response from Prime Minister Perry Christie.
He says he does not want the member for Killarney, Dr. Minnis, to apologize. Instead, he says he will use the allegations by Dr. Minnis as political motivation in the next general election.
I just want him to know this, that we are taking pains to communicate to the world that no minister is going to sit down and approve Nygaard or Condell Brown or Dr. Richard Stack. We have set in the law layers of approval. Correct. There's a National Ethics Committee. Yes. After the National Ethics Committee, there are scientific committees to be appointed. There are layers in the law to determine the fitness of someone to practice stem cell research and intervention in this country. No minister, no politician.
Now, not every opposition member of Parliament supported the boycott of Parliament today.
Our Andrew Knowles spoke with the sole member who insists he's no follower.
All but one of the opposition members stood in solidarity with their leader, Dr. Hubert Minnis, Wednesday morning after he was named and suspended from the House.
I thought for me to change my views just to follow other people who indicated they did not support it, it would have been very hypocritical of me, and I'm not a follower. I've never been a follower. I believe in something, I believe in it.
South Abaco MP Edison Key made it clear, though, that his allegiance to his party remains intact and there's no beef between he and his leader. He says his position is a personal one.
I have no right to get up in Parliament and call another member a crook or a thief unless I have evidence to prove it. And this is exactly what took place. And my leader was asked to withdraw or produce the evidence. So he couldn't produce the evidence, and he didn't withdraw. So he didn't withdraw. So I didn't think I needed to follow after him.
But this isn't the first time a member of Parliament was named. In 2009, Glenys Hannah Martin was suspended after clashing with former House Speaker Alvin Smith, who did not allow her to make a statement about investigations into an apparent suicide of a teenager while in police custody. The following day, when she returned to the house, she was refused entry. And that's exactly what will happen to Dr. Minnis should he try and return to the house.
Sergeant of Arms have been designated and empowered by law of the Parliament to reasonably resist any entrance by the member for Kalani for 2 consecutive sittings.
House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major says he is surprised with Dr. Minnis' actions as he met with the opposition leader just last week.
From our meetings, I got a sense that other factors were involved. Other factors may be political, I don't know. I can't speak to that. I got a sense of that. But every time I come in this place, I believe members will recognize the importance of the work we do. And eventually, I thought he would have had a change of heart. He didn't, and so he received the punishment as so afforded by the Speaker.
And even if the other members of his party do not return to the House of Assembly to continue debate for the next 2 sittings, at least the opposition will have 1 member present. Andrew Knowles, ZNS Network News.
In our first look at whether that surface trough near the northwest Bahamas has pushed off towards the east, and that mid-level trough over the southeast Bahamas remained there and continues to work its way towards the west. But outside of our studios just now, we have partly cloudy skies. Your temperature just at 86 degrees, relative humidity 63%, winds out of the southeast at 8 knots, your barometric pressure 1,015.0 millibars. That's just about 29.97 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Family Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Well, still ahead tonight, soon to be saving. A local bank looks to reopen after a freak fire closed the branch.
Final rites. The Anglican community begins the overnight ceremony of burying a priest. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.